Hello traders, welcome to this live currency strength indicator table video with me, John, on this Monday the 11th of September. Sorry, this video is taking a little bit of a while to organise, so I'm coming to you a little bit later than usual today, but at least it's a Monday. Mondays can typically be a little bit of a reflection in the European session due to the fact that we don't have the full US session in just yet, so Mondays can be one of those days. Now, we have seen a lot of developments over the past couple of hours. If I just scroll back and so that you can see both the live tables and the 30-day rolling tables, you can see our snapshot here at 9 AM in the UK, and the tables looked sort of different. We had the yen coming up as the strongest currency. That has completely faded away. We had some data out of the Bank of Japan Governor Ueda. It wasn't really scheduled announcements from him, which was unfortunate for us because we were holding a cable position over the weekend to the downside. The volatility then kicked us out of that trade, unfortunately, but we'll go and discuss that. We'll go have a little review of that, and if there was anything we could have done in particularly different. We probably could have managed it on Friday, just to try and save us some, obviously save us that loss, but we'll go take a look at that one. Looking at the tables then, so you can see pound was the weakest. It's now the second weakest currency. The Swiss franc was the second weakest. It is now the first weakest. And the only thing that's really changed from the other side of the tables is the fact that the yen has gone and the Canadian dollar has come back as a strong currency. So lots of confluences technically around at the moment. We'll go take a look at some of these markets in here, especially sort of the Aussie markets. So let's just have a little look at cable then. Let's have a little look at what we were looking at going into the weekend. So essentially what had happened was we were looking for the rejection of the 125 handle to see a continuation to the downside, 124 being our sort of ideal target here. Now, I did discuss in some of the updates in Discord, and if you're not in Discord, then go over to Friday's video. You can see how you can jump into the Discord channel. But if I just bring over the trade calls and updates tab that we have, you can see here I've posted multiple updates through the nights here. So there is some opportunities here when I do discuss things. You can see here I'm still saying that the stochastic is still pointing bearish, but it is a Friday, so there's no problem closing this and having looking again at Monday morning. So if you did do that, then you would have had a better result than I did. So yeah, that pound trade unfortunately for me stopped out. You can see that there with chart screenshots and everything like that we're posting there. So if you're not in this already, it will be good for you to jump in there because I give regular updates. Now you can see here, like I said, the market is coming into an interesting area. We're actually back at the 125.33 lows. Pound is on the table as weak. We just don't have that dollar, necessarily that dollar strength back into the market here. But if we take a look at it from this hourly point of view, and I come into here, you can see that the hourly rejecting that area, starting to get a bit of a rollover in the stochastic as well. Which could obviously punch a little bit of an alert here, but that depends on how your outlook is on that US dollar. Now, pound obviously is on the tables against other things. So if we go take a look at pound Aussie, for instance, this market could start to roll over here. Now, pound Aussie is a really interesting market. If we go take a look at the weekly chart, we are technically in a little bit of an upward trend here. And that has occurred since price found this low back in September, the 26th of September, that week of the 26th. You can see price rallied quite aggressively to the upside. And ever since then, we have been trending higher. We've traded through the 50 moving average on the weekly chart, the 200 moving average on the weekly chart, and price is well above that. So from that weekly perspective, the market is pushing higher. Now I've got a couple of support zones on here. You can see the 195 is where we're kind of trading at right now. The 1.92 is the level below, which could be a level that price comes into if we were to see the pound and Oz strength and weakness dynamics remain here. Now if I go down to the daily chart, you can see that we've just started to trade through that low. So the only thing I'm looking at here is, does price remain below the low? Does it stick to the low there, or does it have a little bit of a false breakout? That's what we don't want to see. We don't want to see a false breakout and then price start pushing back to the upside, because what we're looking for is pound to be weak and Oz to be strong. So typically what we would see in that scenario is pound Oz push lower. Now, like I said, we've got the 1 spot 92 handle here, the 1 spot 95 handle. We're trading at this handle at the moment. We do have a daily 50 moving average running through here as well, so that could be a point of support for price. If I was to go to the hourly, however, we've crossed over. You can see that we've flipped over here. We consolidated above that key level of resistance in here. Price has traded through that now. So we may come up into that 195 handle and give another push lower. Perhaps 194 could be an area of target. Trend line, daily trend line support or weekly trend line support could be target before seeing further upside there. What I would like to see, if that was to be the case, is a burst up in the stochastic as well. If we get a nice burst up in the stochastic and price matching that and coming up into the 50 moving average, 200 moving average on this hourly time frame, you just see there 1H, then I would expect potentially that we would see that move break into the downside there. So that's something to kind of look for if we're going to try and trade perhaps this Aussie bullishness that's coming to the market today because of those comments from the Bank of Japan. So if we actually go on to Aussie US dollar, you can see we've had a strong burst to the upside here. If I look at it from that weekly perspective, sorry, let's go daily actually, just so you can see it a little bit better. The 0 spot 64 support held. Essentially we traded to 63.66 low, which formed on the 17th of August. We failed to break through that. Price is now traded above. Now, from the sort of grand scheme of things, that burst there could be sort of fading slightly. You can see on the 4 hour starting to punch back a little bit here. Charles did also send me screenshots of the dashboard. If you want to see any kind of dashboard updates as well, please head over to the Discord. You can see Pro Markets dashboard, and you can click the 9 AM one. At this point, the Aussie dollar was building with strength. You can see 179 here. You can see all the bright green, essentially. You can see that there. So the Australian dollar definitely gaining some strength through that period of time. That has faded slightly now. That has faded, and you can see technically from the chart that price is pulling back. However, if I go to the hourly chart, you can see the 200 moving average on the hourly chart is just being supported at the minute. We have this consolidation down through here. I think if you were looking to be sort of long this market, then that is a good area to look for price to come back into for potential continuation. I just want to, what I'm trying to get at as well today is this long standing, or is it just a reaction to the news that we've had overnight? You know, there's not really been any actual implementation from the Bank of Japan. It's just a potential that they could look to come away from these negative interest rates. And it could have been employed by the Bank of Japan to try and bring the yen strength back into the market. So that's also something to consider. But all we can do is kind of look at what we've got in front of us. At the moment, price is above that 0 spot 64 support. From a sort of stock point of view, a stochastic point of view, if we take a look at the hourly stochastic, yes, it could be giving us a little bit of something. But, you know, are we willing to put risk here to try and trade that to the downside when it is the strongest currency on the day traders? Yeah, probably not there. I'd rather look at it maybe against weaker currencies. So pound Oz is one of those. Euro Oz could be one as well. If we go up to the daily time frame on Euro Aussie, let me just remove all these drawing tools, and we'll kind of draw this out together, just to kind of build up a little bit of a sort of base of what's to come. Again, so what we want to do first is kind of look for those kind of key areas of support and resistance. I can see potentially there's a really good couple of trend lines running through here. That one, for instance, where price rallied to the upside, came back. We did breach it, but it did come back within it. It then has held a couple of times through there. That could be something. I mean, if we were to look at that in terms of a channel, we'll probably expect price to potentially come into sort of this area here as well. Ideally with the channel, what we want to do really is clone the previous trend line support. So if I was to clone that up, put that there, for instance, on those highs, you can see that that could potentially be an area of trend resistance. Also, we want to just kind of take a look at the line chart, have a little look at where price is. I mean, I can just see my eye drawn to the fact that price has breached this kind of level through here, which is around about the 166. So if I was to kind of leave that as 1.66, it may need tweaking slightly, but I can see all this contact point through there. If I put the candlesticks on, we have gone through those points a couple of times, but price being above that could be fairly significant. And we're coming into the daily 50. So this is where I'm still thinking, is it actually Aussie weakness, Aussie strength driving this market or fueling this move? Or is it just a reaction to what we've heard out of the Bank of Japan? Now, if we look at the support in lows there, around about the 167, I'd say we're at support. So, you know, to me, that's not necessarily something I'm too engaged in going in long at the moment. But it is sort of telling me that the higher time frame is in upward trend, and the tables are saying the opposite. The tables are saying we should be looking to get short, but you know, we've got all these confluences coming in here. We've got horizontal support, we've got trend line support, and long-term horizontal support of the 166. So, you know, when you put all those things together, is that really sort of something you want to get involved with on the short side? Doesn't mean that price isn't going to go short, okay? That, you know, we're not you know, predicting, let's say, you know, we don't have a crystal ball, as we like to say. But if price was to bounce from here, how would I expect it to react? So let's just kind of have a little look into that. We've got the 50 and the 200 cross. That's great. Price has come right down into this low here and is starting to reject in that area. Now, let's say price was going to really reject from this point. I would expect another retest, I must admit. If price was to kind of come back up here, we get the 50, 200, stochastic, something like that, then yeah, great. Maybe we could look for a very short-term short, but I would only be targeting these lows at that point, because obviously buyers have been here in the past. We know that because of how aggressive price has moved from this area. The fact that the buyers are defending the level at the moment suggests to me that they're either, one or two things is either happening here. They're either long from here, prices come back, they're getting out of their positions, so that's why we're seeing a little bit of buying coming in. But if it was to trade through that level, then it could be sort of a sign that we are going to get lower prices. One thing I would be really cautious of is this trend line support, this huge weekly trend line support that we've been looking at here. A breach of that, a breach of 166, I think would really lead to a move down to the 200 moving average, perhaps even all the way down to the 1.6 handle. So that's kind of my sort of two sides of the sort of equation here for Euro Aussie. I think obviously as well we do have a little bit of sort of trend line resistance coming through here from a lower time frame point of view. If you have a little look at that 4 hour, for instance, a trade breach through that might then spark some further buying to the upside. Now obviously that is, you know, a caveat to everything sort of changing on our tables here. Tables are saying Aussie strong, so there's still potential opportunity to look for Aussie strength. I like it against the pound because pound has been technically weaker recently, so the idea of pound Aussie moving lower still appeals to me. Pound dollar even, I still feel like pound dollar, although we've been caught out of a move there, I still feel pound dollar could be a market to watch. Looking from the sort of other markets, CAD Swiss is saying that we should be looking for long ideas here. CAD Swiss really at a significant low. You know, if I take a look at the charts that I've got here, the lowest low that was available to us is where price is at the moment. So there could be a little bit of a bounce going on here potentially. You know, perhaps back up into the sort of 0.68. How would I trade that? Well, I'd look for some kind of continuation here. It doesn't look to me like there's a ton of buying going on, if I must admit. Obviously from a lower time frame it would, but you can see that pullback there. That doesn't really make me think that there's going to be lots of buying going on there. In fact, you know, I'd be interested above maybe 166 because, sorry, 0.66 above 0.66 could lead us to these highs at 0.68. But yeah, I will put that in as a resistance point in there. So yeah, that's about all I've got for you guys. Dollar yen's an interesting one. Obviously we saw that bit of yen strength coming in, but that has really faded away, and you can see dollar yen pushing higher again. You know, I think any kind of dip to the downside at the moment has been met with buyers. So that's why I'm trying to say to you, maybe we need to see how Monday closes to really gauge whether the market is taking this on board. I think if it took it on board very seriously in the US session coming up shortly, we would probably see a continuation of that yen strength. I'm just not seeing it necessarily follow through right now. Obviously as well, if we do see a trading opportunity, I will point it out in the Discord channel, but for now I'm going to leave that empty because I don't really see too much in the way of a trading opportunity right now. I'm going to see how Monday closes, and maybe something will pop up for us tomorrow. So hopefully that analysis made sense. Hopefully you got a lot out of that. If you're not in the Discord channel right now, head over to Friday's video. You'll see how you can enter the Discord. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.